sun came up,
Catch a fish, you gotta
and the
be
sun
careful,
went
okay?
down.
On the edge.
Looking for reasons in my head
Got
again.
one? No? Okay, keep reeling it.
Where are you now?
There you go.
Where you've
There you
always been.
go. Like that. Oh, maybe.
Far
Might have had
from
one, maybe it
where
was the
I
bottom.
am. Did I keep you there, or did you run?
We caught a stick.
Was
caught
it
a
what I
stick.
didn't do, or was it what I done? And I've been hanging out alone, living on my own, just breathe.
I'm Darren Swazo, and I have 631 days of sobriety.
He had been to DOC. He had been using, you know, he was a wild Swazo boy.
I was on parole. I was not in a good spot at all, you know. I was, you know, back in jail on a parole violation with a new charge, and just at the bottom, one of my all-time lows, I would say that was my rock bottom right there. It was constant struggle, waking up every day, trying to find your money for your fix, you know. I was working, but then I would lose a job because I couldn't make it to work because I was using and needed my fix, you know. So I couldn't hold down a job, I didn't have money, you know. It was a constant struggle every day, just waking up and trying to find money for my fix.
So I supervised him on probation before he came into drug court back in 2013. He didn't do well that time. He ended up being revoked and placed in community corrections, and that he was there for a few months and then ended up going to the Department of Corrections. He had a 3-year sentence. During the time that I supervised him, he had a dependency and neglect case with his daughter. I believe she was removed at birth from him and his girlfriend at the time.
One of the things that I really kind of noticed about Darren is that I think he really wants to be helpful to people, but I think at the same time what he was doing is he was forgetting about himself, and he was putting a lot of other people ahead of himself. And a result of that, then I think that he started getting into trouble more, or just not really focusing on himself and what he needed to do to be a good son, a good dad.
There's certain people in my life that I was still letting in my life, you know, that had an influence on me the most, you know. And so that was the hard part, you know, dealing with family issues, you know. And then, like you said, with my mom was the hard part, you know. But I'm glad I made it through.
When his mother passed away, he called me that night, 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't go back to sleep. He was pretty upset. I was worried. I wanted to just go get him, just so I knew he wouldn't go relapse or go do something stupid.
That night, it was just crazy hectic. I didn't know what to do. I didn't really know who to call and who to reach out to. And Teddy, he was always there for me. He said, if you needed me anytime, any hour, you call, you know. And at that time, in that hour, I needed him. I needed to tell him. And I called and he answered.
You know, he stayed strong through that, and I think any other person in his shoes would have used that as an excuse to relapse, and he didn't. You know, I think it made him, you know, that much stronger. So after that point, I knew he was going to be very successful, because he was over the hump, and you know, and he beat the addiction, in my opinion, at that point.
Talking it out with the people I love, with, you know, the good influences in my life, like my grandma and my Auntie Tanya, you know, they keep me going. And my grandma, my dad, My dad too, he has a big influence, and just whenever I feel down and out or that I'm missing my mom and need to talk about it, I usually call up my grandma right away and she's right there.
Darren, you know, he's been through a lot, and he's managed to persevere, to grow, and to become a better person. There was a point in time where I quite frankly was ready to give up on Darren. When he had that big lapse in judgment, he made some poor decisions, and he allowed himself to get locked up in the county jail for, I think, 3, 4, 5 months, something like that. It was a pretty significant amount of time, and quite frankly, I thought maybe we would lose Darren. But, you know, I think I talked to Darren when I resentenced him, and I spoke to him from my heart, you know, about the importance of being a father, the importance of focusing on the right things and making the right choices. And I don't know that I made a difference in his life, but I hope I did, because what I see now is a man, a real man, not, you know, not someone trying to act like a man, but a real man. A man who's made a decision that his daughter is the most important thing to him, and that having a life with his daughter is the most important thing to him. And I can't think of any greater accomplishment for a program. I can't think of any greater accomplishment for a person to find that true place. And I have no doubt in my mind that Darren has found that true place.
Going back to prison was easy. That was taking the easy way out, you know. I had never been challenged in my life, really, about getting clean and sober, you know. So, like, when I saw this opportunity, I was like, you know, I'm not gonna take the easy way out this time. I'm gonna just try it, you know, and I know it's gonna take a lot of hard work, and I was ready for it. So
that really struck me about him early on is just about him just really wanted to be a good dad, realizing all of the time that he missed with his daughter, and that he just really wanted to really be present for her and just really do a lot of things that he had missed out on previously doing with her.
Anytime I talk to him, it's about his daughter. I have ran into him one time at McDonald's, and he didn't know I was there, and he was there playing with his daughter. Just such a good dad, really good interactions. He was very attentive, and he was just a really good dad. And then another time, I ran into him in public with his daughter, and he was just so excited to introduce her to me, and just so proud to be a dad. And he always talks about his daughter, and that's really his motivation.
it's changed a lot with, like, my sobriety. It allowed me to be there for her more than I was in the past. You know, when I was in my drug addiction, I was hardly ever there. You know, that was my main focus in life. And now that I got clean and sober, you know, I can't make up for lost time, but I can be there in the future. So I just try to be there for her every single day as much as I can. Right here is free youth fishing, but I have a fishing license just in case.